Okay, welcome to the first video on how to answer the questions on the Weimar paper for Edexcel. So today we're going to have a look at question 1, which is how to answer the Weimar give two things you can infer question. Sorry, I'll keep putting Weimar. It's Weimar and Nazi Germany. Okay. Right. So for this question then, you'll be given a source. So you'll be given a source on the first page in the exam booklet. And then you are given this grid, which, so in this case, is give two things you can infer from source A about the treatment of the Jews during Kristallnacht. Okay. So what you would do, first of all, is the first thing we need to be aware of when we're answering this question is what the word infer means. So infer means what you can work out. Okay. Just make a note of that there for you on the screen. Okay. So you want to be looking at the source, and when you're giving what you can infer, you're not giving evidence from the source in that part. So in the part which says what I can infer, instead, you are saying what you can work out from the source. Okay. And then where it says details in the source that tell me this, that is where you then give your evidence. Because this is a written source, you would use a quotation from the source. If it is an image source, you pick out what you can see in the source. So I'll say that again. So for details in the source, if it's a written source, you use a quote. If it's an image source, you pick out something that you can see. Okay. So if we're looking at this question then, so what I can infer, just pause the video now and have a little read through this source, and then I'll talk through the kind of things that I would be looking at. Okay, so hopefully you pause the video now. And for this question, what you need to be doing is you need to be thinking about the treatment of Jews during Kristallnacht, okay? Because that's what the question's asking, essentially. So with that in mind, these are the quotes that I would have picked out, and these are the inferences I would have made. So there's 4 possible options. So the first option is the fact that it talks about Nazis in uniform. So we can talk about that the horrible treatment is not being done by German people, but is being done by Nazi soldiers. That's option number 1. Option number 2 is the Nazis were knocking down the synagogue and all the Jewish shops. So that is an assault on key parts of Jewish identity and Jewish culture. And then towards the end, it talks about the fact that 2 old men had their walking sticks broken. So here we could probably talk about the fact that the violence was unnecessarily intense and extreme. That would be my inference. And then the final quote that I thought you could potentially pick out is the Nazis had a register to check. Okay. So first of all, think about, did you pick up on those quotations when you were reading it? And would you have come to similar conclusions? So for the Nazis had a register, that's an example of the treatment of Jews being systematically awful. So the fact that they're recording what they're doing and so on. So this is how I would approach this question. So first things first, let me just switch back to the other slide. There we go. Okay, so let me just erase all this stuff on the screen as well. Okay, so I would then at the top, so where it says what I can infer, I would write down first of all the fact that that the Nazi soldiers attacked. In fact, what I'm going to do is, just because this is the Zoom function is not very good, I'm going to just do this on a blank slide. So I'll do it here. Okay, sorry about that. So I would do the following thing. So where it says what I can infer, I would talk about here the fact that Nazi soldiers attacked key buildings associated with Jewish identity and culture. Then where it says details in the source, tell me this. My quote for that would be where it talks about Nazis were knocking down the synagogue and all the Jewish shops. Okay, then where it says what I can infer again. So I would then do my next inference. So I talk about that the Nazis were unnecessarily violent towards Jewish people and enjoyed humiliating them. And then my details in the source that tell me this be the quote about the old men. So where it talks about 2 old men had their walking sticks broken by Nazis. So that's basically how you approach this question. Just to remember that your inference is what you can work out. not the evidence. The evidence you put in for where it says details in the source that tell me this. If it's a written source, you write down in quotations. If it's an image source, you pick out what you can see. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.